The sound of laughter echoed across the marble atrium as Zara Thorne adjusted her diamond-encrusted sunglasses and struck a pose for the dozen cameras pointed at her. She was 19, radiant, and untouchably smug. The party at the Plaza Royale in Paris wasn't about her. It was for some luxury brand unveiling a new perfume, but somehow, Zara always managed to make herself the main attraction. The flashbulbs worshipped her face, the same way her followers worshipped her life. 10 million people scrolling, double-tapping, and typing envious comments. 10 million souls who thought Zara's world was heaven on earth. She sauntered across the champagne-slick floor in a gown that shimmered like a constellation. Every step was calculated. The slight toss of her hair, the casual glance over her shoulder, the practiced half-smile. She knew the exact angle at which her cheekbones caught the light. Life was, after all, one endless photo shoot. "Miss Thorne, over here!" a photographer shouted. "Zara, darling, who are you wearing?" another called. She tilted her head, her voice airy and indifferent. "Chateau de Verre. Limited collection. Custom fitted." She smiled as if the dress weren't gifted, as if she hadn't begged the designer to let her wear it in exchange for 3 Instagram posts. Her father, Alistair Thorne, wasn't present tonight. He was busy in some diamond conference in Antwerp, or was it Dubai? Zara didn't really care. All she knew was that the Thorne name carried weight. Diamonds dripped from her ears and wrists not just as accessories, but as proof that she belonged to the throne of wealth. The next morning found her aboard a private jet bound for Dubai. She lounged in the cream leather seat, scrolling through her phone. "Another 100,000 likes," she muttered, smirking. "Honestly, people will eat up anything." Across from her, her mother sighed softly, adjusting her silk scarf. "Zara, must you gloat?" "Mother, it's called influence. Do you know how many girls dream of this life? How many want to be me?" She stretched lazily, as though the universe existed solely for her comfort. Her mother only gave her a look, half admiration, half worry. Zara never noticed. Dubai was hot, opulent, and loud. Zara thrived in it. She spent the morning at the rooftop infinity pool of the Burj Crown Hotel, sipping an iced rose while snapping pictures of herself against the impossible skyline. "Perfect," she whispered after applying yet another Paris filter. Her phone buzzed again. A notification. She glanced at it carelessly, until her eyes froze. Breaking news. Alistair Thorne under investigation for massive fraud. Zara blinked. Then laughed. "Oh, please. This is ridiculous." Her friend Layla, who lounged beside her in a neon bikini, leaned over. "Wait, Zara, is that about your dad?" "Yes," Zara scoffed, tossing her phone aside like it had just told her a bad joke. "Fake news. Always trying to drag powerful men down." Layla frowned. "But it's on Global Financial Times. They don't usually do fake." Zara rolled her eyes, lifting her sunglasses to glare. "Darling, people have been trying to ruin my father for years. Competitors, jealous businessmen, parasites. None of it sticks. Daddy's untouchable." But beneath her practiced nonchalance, something sharp pricked her chest. She shoved it down. She took another selfie, smiling wider than she felt. That evening, when she returned to her hotel suite, she found her mother on the phone, pacing like a storm cloud. "Yes, I understand. We'll cooperate fully. No, my husband has nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing." Her mother's voice cracked slightly before she hung up. "Mother." Zara's tone was laced with irritation rather than concern. "Why are you stressing? It's nonsense." Her mother sank into the chair, pressing her temples. "Zara, sometimes nonsense has a way of becoming truth in the public eye." Zara ignored her, posting a story captioned, "Another day, another headline. Don't believe everything you read, gemstone sparkles, #fake news." When they returned to England, the estate no longer felt like home. The Thorne mansion, an architectural marvel of glass, stone, and iron gates, should have welcomed Zara with staff lined up in the foyer. Instead, silence greeted them. Silence, and the faint echo of abandonment. "Hello," Zara called, her heels clicking. No butler appeared. No maid came rushing forward. Her mother entered the study, and froze. A single envelope lay on the mahogany desk, Alistair's familiar handwriting scrawled across the front. She picked it up with trembling hands. "What is it?" Zara demanded. Her mother opened it slowly. Her lips moved as she read, her eyes growing wider. What's wrong?" Zara pressed. Her mother lowered the letter, pale as death. "He's gone." "Gone where?" "I don't know." Her mother's voice shook. He says it's not safe. That he had no choice." Zara snatched the letter and read. Her father's words were cryptic. "Forgive me. Trust no one. I will return when I can." Zara crumpled the letter in her fist. "This is insane. He can't just disappear." But disappear he had. The house seemed larger that night, emptier, like the ghost of wealth still lingered but refused to speak. The downfall was swift. The following week, banks froze every account. Zara discovered this when her platinum credit card was declined in front of a line of amused strangers at a luxury boutique. "Try it again," she hissed at the cashier. "Ma'am, it's not working." "Do you know who I am?" Zara snapped. The woman smiled politely, but the whispers behind Zara stung like needles. At home, creditors swarmed like vultures. Men in dark suits banged at the gates, demanding repayment. The garage, once lined with Ferraris, Bentleys, and a custom Rolls-Royce, was stripped bare by tow trucks. "Mother, do something!" Zara cried, watching her father's prized cars being hauled away. Her mother only shook her head helplessly. "There's nothing left to do. Your father's accounts, they're all frozen." For the first time, Zara's glamorous cage cracked. Behind it was nothing but emptiness. Zara turned to the only weapon she still had, her social media empire. She sat in the cold, echoing living room, recording herself against the backdrop of chandeliers they could no longer afford to light. "Hi, loves," she began, voice sweet but strained. "I just want to clarify, the rumors about my family are completely false. My father is the most honest man alive. People are jealous, that's all." She forced a laugh, ending the video with her signature wink. She hit upload. Within minutes, the comments poured in. "Honest. Well, didn't he scam thousands? Poor little princess, welcome to reality. Sell your diamonds, maybe you'll afford Wi-Fi. Hashtag Thorne fraud, trending now, guys." Zara stared in horror. She posted again, this time angrily. "You people don't know my father. You don't know me. Stop spreading lies." But the more she posted, the worse it got. Her followers, the same millions who had once worshipped her, turned into a mob. They screenshotted old photos, mocking her captions. They made memes of her crying face. Her perfect world shattered publicly, brutally, irreversibly. That night, Zara lay in bed scrolling through hateful comments until tears blurred her vision. For the first time in her life, she realized. The world didn't love Zara Thorne. It loved what she represented. And now, it loved to watch her fall. The knock on the door came early in the morning, sharp and insistent. Zara, still in silk pajamas, stormed downstairs. "Who dares disturb us at this hour?" she muttered. Two men in navy suits stood on the doorstep, one holding a folder thick with papers. Behind them, a bank representative waited with grim finality. "Mrs. Thorne?" the taller man asked. Her mother appeared at Zara's shoulder, pale and trembling. "Yes. I'm afraid this is an eviction notice. The bank now holds the deed to this property. You have 72 hours to vacate." Zara laughed incredulously. "Eviction? Do you even know whose house this is? This is the Thorne estate." The man didn't blink. "Not anymore." Her mother's knees buckled. She clutched the doorframe, tears spilling freely. Zara, in shock, looked past the men to the fleet of workers unloading boxes meant to seal their fate. "No. No, this isn't happening," she whispered. But it was. 3 days later, Zara stood in the echo of her childhood bedroom. The walls that once shimmered with designer wallpaper seemed bare and accusatory. Boxes, hastily packed, surrounded her. Her mother called from downstairs, "Zara, the taxi's here." Zara dragged a Louis Vuitton suitcase behind her, the last luxury she refused to let go. But even as she left the mansion, she felt the weight of loss pressing down, crushing her chest. Their new home was a dingy apartment owned by her mother's distant cousin. The walls smelled faintly of mildew. The window overlooked a cracked parking lot, not a manicured garden. Zara dropped her suitcase in disgust. "We can't live here." Her mother sighed, shoulders sagging. "It's all we have left." For the first time, Zara realized, her life of glitter and gold had truly ended. Zara had never typed a resume in her life. Now she sat at a borrowed laptop, staring at a blank Word document. What am I supposed to write? Professional shopper? Expert at posing for photos, she groaned. Her mother, sipping weak tea, gave her a weary smile. You'll figure it out. Everyone starts somewhere. But Zara didn't figure it out. Her first interview was at a luxury boutique. She strutted in wearing her most fashionable outfit, convinced they would be lucky to have her. The manager asked, "So, Zara, tell me about your work experience." She blinked. "Experience? Well, I've been a brand ambassador. Millions follow me online." The manager raised an eyebrow. "Any retail or customer service background?" "I shop extensively." The interview ended in 5 minutes. The next attempt was at a corporate office. Zara wore a conservative blazer but couldn't resist diamond earrings. "Why do you want this job?" the recruiter asked. "Honestly," Zara leaned back, smiling. "Because I need money. And, I'll look fabulous doing it." The recruiter stared in disbelief. Rejected again. After 5 more failed interviews, Zara slumped onto the couch at home. "This is humiliating. No one appreciates who I am." Her mother touched her hand gently. "Maybe it's time to learn who you are without the diamonds." The words stung, but they lodged in Zara's mind. Desperation drove her to a local cafe one rainy afternoon. The air smelled of roasted coffee and warm pastries. She approached the counter nervously. "Are you hiring?" The owner, a stout woman with kind eyes named Maribel, looked her up and down. "You've never worked in food service, have you?" "No," Zara admitted, cheeks hot. Maribel hesitated, then smiled. "Everyone deserves a first chance. Can you start tomorrow?" And just like that, Zara became a waitress. The first day was chaos. Plates clattered, coffee spilled, customers barked orders. Zara's hands shook as she balanced trays. "Order up, table 5, shouted the cook. She rushed, nearly colliding with another waitress. "Sorry." The other girl, Lila, laughed. "Don't worry, newbie. You'll get the hang of it." By the end of her shift, Zara's feet ached and her manicure was ruined. But when Maribel handed her the first envelope of wages, Zara stared at it in awe. It wasn't much, but it was hers. Earned. That night, for the first time in her life, Zara smiled at the thought of work. One evening, while rummaging through boxes stacked in their tiny apartment, Zara found something unexpected, a dusty sewing machine and a box of colorful fabrics. "Mother, what's this?" she asked. Her mother's eyes softened. "That was your grandmother's. She was a seamstress. She could turn scraps into gowns." Zara traced the machine's edges, memories stirring of watching her grandmother sew little dresses for her dolls. She sat at the machine that night, experimenting clumsily at first. Fabric bunched, threads tangled. But slowly, she remembered. Her hands found rhythm. She created a simple top from an old curtain. It was crooked, imperfect, but uniquely hers. The next day, she wore it to the cafe. "Zara, where'd you get that?" Lila asked, eyes wide. "I made it," Zara said, cheeks flushing. "No way. It's gorgeous." For the first time, Zara felt a spark of pride not tied to her father's diamonds. The spark became a flame. Zara spent her nights hunched over the sewing machine, repurposing old fabrics into chic, modern clothes. She upcycled denim jackets with embroidered patterns. She turned faded gowns into edgy skirts. Lila encouraged her. "You should sell these. People would buy them." Zara hesitated. "Who would want my designs? No one now." Lila grinned. "Not no one." Zara Thorne, the Zara Thorne, Making clothes with her own two hands? That's a story. Zara took a leap. She opened a small online shop, snapping photos of her designs with her phone. The first week, no sales. The second week, 1. By the third, 3 more. Each order filled her with joy greater than 1 million Instagram likes had ever brought. One evening, as she packed a dress into brown paper, she whispered, "This is the real runway. Not Daddy's world. Mine." For the first time in her life, Zara wasn't just existing inside diamond dust and delusion. She was building something real, thread by thread, seam by seam. The cafe was bustling that Saturday morning when Zara's life shifted again, quietly, unexpectedly. A woman in her early 30s, stylish but approachable, ordered a cappuccino. Zara served her with her usual newfound grace, unaware that the woman was a local lifestyle blogger named Amelia Greer. As Amelia handed over her cash, her eyes caught Zara's apron. "That's a cute top. Where did you buy it?" Zara smiled shyly. "I made it." "You sew?" "Yes. Mostly upcycled pieces. It's just something I do on the side." Amelia's brows lifted. "That's incredible. Do you sell them?" "Online," Zara said, hesitating. "It's nothing big. Just a few sales here and there." Amelia's curiosity deepened. "Send me the link. I run a blog. People love stories like yours." Zara scribbled her shop's name on a napkin. She thought nothing of it until, 2 weeks later, her phone buzzed non-stop. The headline on Amelia's blog read, "From heiress to hand-stitcher, Zara Thorne's unlikely reinvention." The article was heartfelt, not mocking. Amelia described Zara's fall from grace with empathy and painted her new designs as symbols of resilience. Photos of Zara's clothes glowed with authenticity. Orders poured in, 20 in one day, then 50 the next. At the cafe, Lila squealed, waving her phone. "Zara, you're trending locally. People are calling you the diamond girl turned designer." Zara flushed, pride warming her cheeks. For once, she wasn't famous for her father's fortune, or his downfall. She was famous for herself. Success didn't come easy. The surge of orders nearly drowned her. "Lila, can you hold this seam while I stitch?" Zara muttered one evening, hair tied messily, fabric scraps all over the tiny apartment. Her mother looked on from the sofa, concern etched on her face. "You're working yourself to the bone." Zara shook her head, sweat beading on her brow. "For the first time, I want to. Every dress, every jacket, it feels like I'm sewing my life back together." Days blurred into nights. Zara taught herself how to source fabrics cheaply. She negotiated with suppliers, haggled at markets, and tracked orders with spreadsheets. She learned customer service the hard way, fielding complaints when shipments were late. One night, exhausted, she collapsed on her bed beside a half-packed parcel. Her phone buzzed. "Customer review. This dress made me feel beautiful again. Thank you, Zara." Zara whispered into the darkness, "Beautiful again, me too." Her brand grew slowly, stitch by stitch. She wasn't just making clothes. She was weaving resilience into every seam. Months later, the miracle came. Zara woke one morning to a barrage of notifications. At first, she groaned. Not another troll storm. But when she opened Instagram, her breath caught. Celine Marquez, an ethical fashion influencer with 6 million followers, had posted. Discovered this hidden gem at Threads by Zara. Upcycled, sustainable, and stunning. Proof that beauty can rise from ashes. Support her, she's the future of fashion. Attached were photos of Zara's designs, worn by Celine herself. "Oh, my God!" Lila screamed, nearly spilling coffee when Zara showed her the post. "Do you realize what this means? Orders are going to explode." They did. Within 24 hours, Zara's site nearly crashed. Dresses sold out in minutes. International customers begged for restocks. Emails flooded her inbox. Magazines, stylists, fashion editors. Zara, who once lived off borrowed glamour, was now creating it. Her mother hugged her tightly, tears in her eyes. "I always knew there was something in you beyond the diamonds." Zara whispered back, voice trembling, "I didn't know, until now." Zara was stitching late into the night when her phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. She almost ignored it, but curiosity won. "Hello, Miss Thorne. This is Oliver Grant from Aurora Ventures. We specialize in ethical fashion investments. We've been following your rise." Zara sat up, heart pounding. "My rise?" "Yes. We believe your brand has extraordinary potential. We'd like to offer you seed funding to expand." Zara's mind spun. Seed funding. Capital, mentorship, and resources. You've built something remarkable from nothing. Imagine what you could do with proper support. When the call ended, Zara stared at her sewing machine, the same one she had inherited from her grandmother. Her mother, who had overheard, whispered, "Your grandmother would be so proud." For the first time, Zara didn't feel like she was clinging to survival. She felt like she was stepping into destiny. A week later, an elegant envelope arrived in the post. Thick parchment, gold-embossed letters. "Miss Zara Thorne, you are cordially invited to the Monaco Charity Gala." Zara's heart skipped. Monaco, the glittering world she once belonged to, the place of her father's grand deals and extravagant parties. Her mother frowned. "Do you think it's wise to go?" "I don't know," Zara admitted. "But something tells me I need to." She decided to attend, not in borrowed designer gowns, but in her own creation, a sleek black dress made from reclaimed satin, modern yet timeless. When she arrived at the Monte Carlo ballroom, the chandeliers sparkled like constellations. The air hummed with wealth. Yet Zara felt different this time, grounded, no longer intoxicated by opulence. As she sipped champagne quietly, she noticed eyes turning toward her. Not because she was Alistair Thorne's daughter, but because she radiated something new, authenticity. And then, across the room, she froze. A man stood by the marble staircase, older now, but unmistakable. Her heart thudded violently. It was her father. Zara's glass trembled in her hand. The laughter of Monaco's elite faded into a dull hum, drowned by the pounding of her heart. The man across the room lifted his head, scanning the crowd with calm detachment. His hair was grayer, his posture less commanding than she remembered, but the sharp, unyielding presence was unmistakable. "Daddy," she whispered. For a moment, she thought she was imagining him, a cruel trick of her longing. But then he met her gaze, clear, steady, intentional. Her throat tightened. Without thinking, she moved through the sea of gowns and tuxedos, weaving between laughter and clinking glasses until she stood in front of him. "Alistair Thorne," she breathed, voice cracking. "You're alive." His lips curved in a faint smile. "Hello, Zara." Her hands shook. She wanted to scream, to slap him, to collapse into his arms. Instead, she whispered fiercely, "Do you have any idea what you've put us through?" "Not here," he murmured. "Come with me." They slipped into a quiet lounge, the gala noise muffled behind velvet curtains. Alistair poured himself a glass of whiskey with maddening calm. Zara paced like a storm. "You vanished," she spat. "Left us penniless, humiliated. Mother cried herself to sleep every night. And you, what? You've been sipping whiskey in Monaco." His eyes, sharp and weary, met hers. "You think it was that simple? Explain then." He leaned back, sighing. "My empire wasn't destroyed by fraud, Zara. It was under attack. Men inside my company, dangerous men, were laundering money through our diamond channels. When I uncovered it, they threatened my life. If I stayed, they'd kill me. If I fought back openly, you and your mother would be targets." Zara's fury faltered. "So, the investigation. Fabricated. A smokescreen. I let it collapse. Better to be branded a criminal than have you both in graves." Her chest heaved. "And you didn't think to tell us? To warn us?" His voice cracked for the first time. "If I reached out, they'd trace it. I had to disappear. It was the only way to keep you safe." Zara stared at him, torn between rage and disbelief. "Do you know what I went through? Who I became because of you?" "Yes," he whispered. "I watched. Quietly, from afar. I saw you rise. Stronger than I ever imagined. I've never been prouder." Tears burned her eyes, but she turned away, unwilling to let them fall. The silence between them stretched, heavy and raw. "You let me believe you were dead," Zara said finally, voice breaking. "You let the world mock me, spit on me. I begged for crumbs while you hid." Alistair flinched, the words striking deeper than any blade. "I hated every moment. But survival left me no choice." "Choice?" She laughed bitterly. "You had a choice. You chose pride. You chose your damned empire." "No," his voice sharpened. "I chose you. I chose your life over mine. Don't you see? If I had fought them then, they'd have used you as leverage. My disappearance saved you." Zara turned, tears finally spilling. "Saved me? You destroyed me." He stepped closer, his hand hovering near hers, hesitant. "And yet, look who you became. Not a shallow heiress clinging to my diamonds, but a woman forging her own empire. That would never have happened if I'd stayed." The words pierced her, because deep down, she knew they were true. Zara pressed trembling hands to her face. "I don't know whether to hate you or thank you." Alistair's voice softened. "Then do both. Hate me for the pain, thank me for the path. But know this, I never stopped loving you." For the first time in years, Zara let herself collapse into her father's arms, sobbing like a child. The days after Monaco were a blur. Zara and her father spoke endlessly, unraveling the tangled web of lies and truths. Her mother wept when she saw Alistair alive, clinging to him with both anger and relief. Slowly, the family began stitching themselves back together, much like Zara's designs. One evening, as Zara worked at her sewing table, Alistair entered, watching her quietly. "You've built something remarkable," he said. Zara glanced up. "Not diamonds. Just scraps and seams." He smiled faintly. "Scraps and seams can outshine diamonds when woven with truth." He sat across from her. "I want to help. Not as your father, not as a magnate, but as a partner. I know business. You know vision. Together, we could scale this into something global." Zara hesitated, needle paused mid-stitch. "I don't want your empire overshadowing mine. And I don't want to control you. I want to amplify you." He extended his hand across the table. "A new Thorne legacy. Built from resilience, not illusion." Zara studied him, the man who broke her world, and the man who gave her strength. Slowly, she placed her hand in his. "Fine. But on one condition." "Name it." "My brand. My rules. Sustainable, ethical, transparent. No shortcuts. No shadows." Alistair nodded firmly. "Agreed." And for the first time, Zara believed him. Months turned into a year. Zara's brand blossomed into a global phenomenon. Fashion weeks once reserved for luxury houses now opened doors for Threads by Zara. Celebrities wore her designs on red carpets. Journalists praised her for redefining glamour, not as extravagance, but as responsibility. Her father stood beside her, no longer the Diamond King but a mentor who had finally found redemption through her light. In an interview broadcast worldwide, Zara was asked, "Looking back, what was the turning point in your life?" Zara smiled, her voice steady and clear. "When my old life died. When I lost everything I thought mattered. That death gave birth to who I truly am." She paused, glancing at her father in the audience, her mother smiling beside him. "The best thing that ever happened to me," she finished, "was losing the world I didn't need, so I could build the one I did." The crowd erupted in applause. But for Zara, the real triumph was quieter. The knowledge that she had risen from ashes, transformed pain into purpose, and stitched her name into history. And somewhere, deep within her, she whispered a truth she once thought impossible. "Thank you, Daddy, for disappearing." The end.